use it, how to use it, all that good stuff. And of course, today it's brought to you by Survey Analytics. Just a little bit about us. We're Survey Analytics. We help companies listen. We offer an enterprise research platform with a suite full of tools and services available to you to create surveys, send email invitations, and other deployment options as well. We specialize in online, mobile, also offline fielding apps, online communities, respondent sample, and so much more. And my name is Esther LaVielle. I'm the VP of Client Services here. It's a little picture of myself. I've been here at Survey Analytics for about 5 years, if you can believe that. And I have experience in market research, prior to that as well. And of course, just on the right there is just a little bit about me when I'm not working. I really enjoy being outdoors, cooking, eating, enjoying hanging out with my dog, and so forth. So on our 30-minute agenda today, we're breaking it down into 4 pieces. First of all, what is TURF and when to supplement this type of research into your marketing efforts, how to program TURF analysis for the best results. We'll also show you an example of a TURF analysis study in action that we actually ran, and then we'll do a live demo, and if there's some time at the end, we will do a Q&A. And all registrants will receive a copy of this TURF analysis guide after the presentation as well. So, what is TURF analysis? Now, it's not related to football, but I always like to think that it is, just for fun. But basically, TURF analysis stands for Total Unduplicated Reach and Frequency. I like to break down each word and then put it all together to get the full meaning. And total means complete or absolute. Unduplicated means it's unique. Reach is the number of people reached at least once. And frequency is the total number of times a person was reached. And TURF came originally from the marketing agencies. It was originally devised for analyzing different kinds of media campaigns. Since then, it has branched off into products and service research. It helps with looking at different market potentials for different products and services, and then it also gives people a guideline in terms of what would be the optimal product line. When would you like to use TURF? The best time to use TURF is anytime you have these kinds of questions come up in your research. Are you thinking about selling new lines or products or services? Where do you want to place ads to reach your target consumers within a budget? And where to spend money on products within a line to meet the demand? And of course, the last one is, do you have any multi-select question types at all in your survey? If you need to estimate market potential or reach potential, make sure to include TURF analysis with your survey studies or research projects. And of course, if you do have a multi-select question type of any kind at all, it doesn't hurt to run a TURF analysis, because you are looking at unduplicated reach and frequency. Those are numbers that you don't get from a standard frequency analysis when you look at a grid or a column. So how to program a TURF analysis? There's 3 steps to programming a TURF. The first thing is that you'll want to identify what areas of your project you want to run a TURF on. And then the second one is to create a multi-select question based on those areas of research. And the last one, of course, is to program the survey in Survey Analytics. To analyze the TURF data, there's 2 ways that you can do this. The first way is through our system. We have an analysis tool, and what it does, it calculates the unduplicated reach and frequency, and it offers the reach percentage or the market share. And for this, you can use this option to calculate the reach for a set of alternatives. The second option that you can do is that you can run a simulator, and it runs through every possible combination. And so the output shows the optimal reach for a limited set of choices. Other options that you can analyze your turf data in Survey Analytics is through price modeling. And what that will do is it'll allow you to assign a cost or an overhead to create each of these product items and or a price for each of the options, and then you can also specify a budget. So for instance, if you only have a $10 budget and each item costs you $1 to make, it will then tell you, which particular item is going to be the best seller based off of what you have in terms of your budget and your overhead costs. And then with that, it simulates every possible combination that falls within the budget. So it'll give you the first best option, but then it will also break down what are some other options that you can substitute or include as well. And within there, the optimum configurations are given to you for the maximum reach that you're seeking, which usually would be, 100%, which is the ideal. It's not always, the reality, but we always want to reach for the absolute highest. And then the second part that you can look at is the line optimization, which is the minimum reach that you need to achieve. So if you're only interested in getting a 50% market share penetration, then what you'll want to do is program this and say, what is the cheapest way to hit my 50%? Similar to how the price modeling works, it will simulate all the possible combinations that will fall within the budget that you set forth, and then show you exactly what is your minimum reach. And everything that I've talked about earlier, I'm going to go ahead and show an example of that so it will bring the picture of this together. So let's go ahead and take a look at a case study that we are running right now. It's actually have wrapped up last week, and we called it It's Football Time. Since we're talking about turf, I don't know why turf and football go really well, and I guess it's preseason, so a lot of us here are big football fans, college and professional. So I thought that would be kind of fun to kind of tie it all in together. So for our turf study that we ran, we conducted a turf analysis case study on both American college and professional football fans. And we asked a bunch of football fans, what teams are excited to watch this season, as well, what are their favorite mascots, who are the most polarizing teams and players, and what other sports do they follow? And so we went and we conducted this as a thing on Facebook, an ad on Facebook, and we also targeted some of the people that have attended this, so you may recognize the survey, and these are the results from it. So you can see below here that 84% of football fans surveyed also followed soccer as well. 79% of football fans also follow baseball. 77 football fans follow basketball, and then 70% only follow football as well. So you can see that that there is some overlap with different kinds of football and other kinds of sports that are out there. So if you are into doing some sports marketing and you want to target people, and see if there's any overlapping opportunities, and making things more cost effective in terms of reach, then you can see that you can target people that enjoy football, and also reach a few soccer fans as well. So that's something that's very interesting. We also broke down and asked some questions about college football this year. We asked them, what are the most exciting teams they're looking forward to watching this year? And Ohio State, Oklahoma, and University of Oregon came up as the top three. Cinderella team of 2014 is projected to be Michigan State. And then, of course, we kind of broke down, who are the top mascots. So Yuga of UGA on below, and then Sparty from Michigan State. So I thought that was kind of fun. And in professional football, or the NFL, top three most exciting teams that we find with the turf is the Seattle Seahawks, Indianapolis Colts, and Green Bay Packers. The top three least favorite NFL teams in 2014 we saw were the Pittsburgh Steelers, Washington Redskins, and the 49ers. And then breaking it down, we asked them what are the three most polarizing players currently in the NFL. And Richard Sherman definitely came in a landslide, followed by Michael Vick and then Colin Kaepernick. And so, a lot of people wonder, with these kinds of data, whether or not you can just read this from a standard frequency. And the answer to that is actually no, because we're looking at not just, the number of times things are reached, but the likelihood of a person who's selecting all would also select another item. So that's the purpose of TURF. We're taking out all the duplicates, and so these are the results that you would get. So it's very clean. And then, of course, if you're trying to maximize your dollar in terms of, reaching out to certain people, then these are the way that you would look at the data. And of course, I threw in the last really interesting, fun question. We asked them whether or not they think the Seahawks will be able to repeat their Super Bowl win this year. And we found that it was very close. 49% said yes, and 51% said no. So that means that they're not projected. There's a lot of interesting comments that came with this, including saying that the Seahawks were, they got really lucky, even though they beat the Broncos easily by, 30 plus points last year. So I thought that was really interesting. So I could tell, football fans are really excited for this year. In both collegiate and professional. So so maybe next year when the Super Bowl comes around again, we can do another turf and see how that turns out. And below here, we do have some stats in terms of the types of people that took this survey, including the browser that we collected, what devices they took it on, and then the different kinds of operating system. And this is to show you that you can run a turf analysis and you can do this on multiple platforms and reach out to different kinds of groups in different areas very easily. So let's go ahead and jump into a live demo, and I'm going to show you where I got these stats and everything. And so let's jump into survey analytics. Now, I'm sure there might be some questions about people asking, why isn't just using a standard frequency analysis from, say, for instance, the dashboard report that you see here, how is that not good enough? Why can't I just count all the answers I got and then, just rank out my top three? Again, if you are looking for, the top three choices, this is what the simple frequency analysis gives you. But this isn't always the right way to look at the data. Here we note that, Richard Sherman, Michael Vick, and then of course Tim Tebow here is your top three most polarizing players among the list. But this really isn't the right way to look at it because you haven't taken into consideration that the same people who picked Richard Sherman are also picking Michael Vick and also another option. So we need to eliminate the duplicates and find out exactly what the reach of any of these three elements or these three answer options in terms of the top three most polarizing effectively come to in order to get a conclusion. So with turf analysis and the simulator from Survey Analytics, we'll exactly find out, what each reach score is for any number of the options. So let's go ahead and jump into the turf here. And we're just going to go with the polarizing question here, polarizing players. So we're going to run a top-down reach. And you can see here that you can break down the analysis based off of different filters and segments, but for now we're just going to go with the entire data set. You can also include weights if you want, but for now we're just going to just run it as is. And then you can see below here that we have a graph. And then on the right side, we also will give you the absolute total frequency, the average, and standard deviation, standard error, and mean. And then below here is your top reach analysis chart, which will actually show you here. So in comparison to the standard frequency grid, the likelihood of someone picking Richard Sherman and then picking Michael Vick and then Colin Kaepernick, that shows to you that those are actually the top three, so you can see, from top down what those are. And actually, when it comes down to it, Tim Tebow is actually on the bottom here, so that was really interesting. And this is what you can see and compare in comparison to just doing a standard frequency analysis. So that's how you set up the top-down reach. I mean, it's literally just clicking the buttons and we calculate this all for you. The next item here is the analysis. And again, you can choose the particular data set you like. And from inside here, you'll be able to see what is your maximum possible reach if you select these particular players. So if I say I want to pick Richard Sherman by himself, what is my potential reach if I'm using him for a marketing campaign? And so you can see that from the respondents that took the survey, if you were to use him for some marketing, that you can have about a 54% reach, because 54% of the people know who he is. And so if you want to increase the market share, you can also combine it with other options. So if you want to do Richard Sherman and Colin Kaepernick, you can update. And you can see that adding them together will increase your market share, and you can keep going as it goes along. So that's really up to you how you like to put that. So if you'd like to do other ones here where you can say, what is the market share if you were to do some research between Colin Kaepernick and Michael Vick, and you can see that there's a 67% reach between the two. And then, of course, reaching is, at least getting out to these people at least once with your message. The next item we have here is the simulator. And the simulator gives you an opportunity to look and see, what are the best combinations of answer options that you want to put together. So if you want to look at an optimal product line, then you can run a simulator, and you can see how many choices that you have here. This is based off of the number of answer options that you have. So in my question type, I only had up to 10 different players. So if I want to say, who are my top three, then you can just click on, 3 simulation count and then simulate your choices. So what this will do here with your output, you can see, again, your configurations with the top, and then it'll break it all the way down, to every single combination with your market share slowly going down as you go along. And of course, you can, share this if you'd like. This next item here is our price modeling. So again, if you do have an estimated budget and you know that it's going to cost you a certain amount of dollars to use particular players, because different players cost a little bit more than others when it comes to doing marketing with them. If you have a $10 budget and everyone costs $1, then you also want to know which particular player is going to give you the best reach or best market share potential. Then you can go ahead and run, and you can see that, of course, Richard Sherman is number 1, and then it breaks down, who are the next people that you can follow through. And the reason why you see that, everyone else is pretty much the same, is because you have, the same kind of costs. So swapping out certain players will give you similar reach counts as well. And then here, the line optimization is if you're just interested in getting like a minimum reach. Say, for instance, you're looking for maybe a 60% reach, and this is how much it costs people, cost you to work with these people in terms of marketing, and you just want to simulate a line optimization. You can go in and see that these here are your two best options to get to at least hit your minimum reach. You can always go in and make changes, so and you can update this, and it'll be available to you to kind of run different kinds of simulations as you go along. So one of the great things about our tool here is that once you have it in your survey, you've built those questions and you've run the analysis, you literally just have to go into the analysis, go down to choice modeling, and then you have 5 different options that you can run at any time and just see what you would like to analyze in terms of what are the best possible, what is your optimal reach, what's your optimal product line. This TURF analysis tool can help you with that. And so that concludes the demo. And we'll open up this session now for any questions and answers. So Gina, is there any questions from the audience?
Yes, Esther. The first question I'd like to address is if you wouldn't mind talking for a moment about the statistics behind TURF analysis and how it is calculated.
Yes, the statistics behind there is that we do use an algorithm to determine the output. In terms of the type of algorithm that is, unfortunately that is kind of proprietary information, but that's been programmed, and we programmed this actually several years ago with a research firm that was using this for agency analysis. Now, we've also worked with other clients along the way to continually improve this as well. So if you're interested in more information, feel free to contact us. We'll be happy to, give you some more information about that, as well as get you started on a demo.
Okay. The second question is, can the results be sliced by segments?
Yes, absolutely. So I wasn't sure if I was very clear in terms of showing you where the segments that you can build, but you can build segments based off of responses in your survey or any custom variables that you import into your survey. And then based off of that, then you can analyze the TURF output from there.
Okay. And then another question we have is, could you provide an example of how TURF analysis would be applied in a media mix, i.e. determining the best advertising?
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely do that. It'll take a little bit of time, but obviously, when it comes to marketing, you always want to see, what is the best way to reach your target audience. So you want to determine, all the different avenues that you are planning to reach out to people. So whether it's an online campaign, some sort of online ad, or if you want to do email campaigns to existing customers that you have their information on, billboards, TV, radio, all that stuff. It just depends on, what that mix is. And then once you have that, then you want to ask questions from your target customer, what are the things that you do? Do you watch TV, or do you watch radio? What radio stations are you on? What websites do you frequent on a daily basis? What's your smartphone habits? Those kinds of things, because you want to make sure that you understand the behavior of your target customers first, and then based off of that, Then you can run a turf and just ask them, like, do you listen to the radio? Do you listen to TV? What TV stations are you at? And then they give you a mix. So based off of that, then you can decide to run a turf and determine what is the best media mix to target your audience with. So that's kind of that in a nutshell.
Great. And I'm going to address one more as we're almost out of time. It is 2:29. This is actually a great question. Can you please explain the differences between conjoint versus turf?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Um, yeah, conjoint basically will allow you to look at share preference, and it breaks down the relative importance of a particular product or service, as well as the importance of each in terms of the parts worth for each particular item that you're looking at. So it doesn't necessarily overlap each other in terms of the type of research that you're looking. Um, but with turf, you can definitely do that. There is a little bit of overlap, and you'll be able to do more mixing of different items or things that will give you the best possible profile. So in terms of turf, you're really dissecting what the shared preference or what are the items within these packages that are convincing someone um, to pick a package, say for instance a vacation package over another vacation package. And turf is just really trying to give you what are the best possible combinations um, in terms of product line to put out. So um, you know, if it comes down to it, I mean, I would, if especially when it comes to product and service research, and especially new things that you're considering, I don't think it hurts to do um, both of those at one time. And in our system, we can run both a conjoint and a turf at one time as part of a single survey if you need to. So that's something very powerful to think about.
Okay, perfect. And while we're on that subject, if you could just take one more moment, we had an additional question coming up, just differentiating between turf and max diff.
Oh yes. Okay. So MaxDiff is a little bit different in terms of looking at share of preference. Once again, you're going to be isolating, what is your most preferred versus your least preferred. Whereas in Turf, we're not asking them what are their least preferred. We're asking, you know, uh, a multi-select question. What are your preferences? What are the choices that you like? So we're not asking people to choose, on a spectrum, what thing that they like the most and what thing that they like the least. And then based off of the max diff, you'll be able to look at, share preference analysis for most and least, and then putting it all together and determining which item is the biggest determinant in terms of what they like. Whereas with turf, you're really looking at different, you're looking at optimum reach, you're looking at optimum frequency. So you're looking at counts, you're looking at things, you're looking at percentages a lot more, especially the count or the frequency, more so than in both even max diff or in conjoint.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap today's session up. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon, Esther. Again, everyone that attended today's webinar, I will be sending out the replay and slides sometime tomorrow for you to access this information later at your convenience. And again, thank you, Esther, and thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you.